Aaron, where have you been? Aaron, how are you doing? Aaron, why are you so attractive? That last question actually wasn't asked, and neither were any of the others. But I've been thinking lately about this whole daily vlog situation. I have had a lot of fun with the daily aspect of the vlog, but according to new YouTube standards, daily vlogs are really not the way to go at all. With the rise of AI channels and the ability to just mass produce videos that are not even human made, YouTube has really been cracking down on things that are daily posting. Some channels are even multi-daily posting. And unless you are a channel that has already been established, like Waste Critical or, I don't know, Cody Co, people like that, that are super big and already established in the community and they know that they are humans, you are really not going to be suggested to anyone if you are daily posting. So, the new format that I am suggesting, and if you're in the comments and have an opinion, feel free to share, I'm suggesting that I make a daily vlog that I record every day. And then twice a week, I upload a video of what has happened so far within that week, projects that I am attempting, stories, things like that. I think that this shift in video production will not only change the ability to be suggested to more people and have more people join the channel, but it will also allow me to provide you all with more interesting videos to watch. I can do more production on them, I can do more editing and do more scripting and actually have a fully fledged story or project that I can work on to show you all. But the aspect that I have really enjoyed of daily vlogging is recording daily. So I will be still recording daily and then just compiling it all into 2 videos a week. Sound good? Fantastic. If you don't like it, I can go back to daily posting, but I think that it's kind of a lot of work for no reward, and I really don't want to be putting myself into something that is not productive. So I think that that is a good balance of all of those things. Secondly, today's actual project that I will be working on is, hold on, I will be turning this little scrap of wood into a car mount so that the camera isn't shaking all around and I can have it up on the dash. Now, this block of wood actually very well fits this camera that I'm recording on right now, which is the Sony ZV-1F, but I also want it to fit some action cameras that I have and other cameras as well. So I need to weight it down, I need to put a screw through the bottom of it to provide a mount, and I think that's kind of it. So a little bit of a lightweight project today, but one that is very necessary for time lapses and shots that I'm getting. I'm getting inspiration for this project from Van Neistat and Evan Monsma, who did similar projects. I also want to say that this is being filmed right now on the tripod that we worked on last time. So that's it's working out super great, and it's one of the most steady, it's one of the most steady tripods that I have now. Super heavyweight, and it worked out great. So for this project, I'm going to be using this block of wood, and then I went to the Dollar Tree and found this, I think it's like a pot. It's a silicone lid for a pot or for like Tupperware, and it just has this perfect non-slip texture on it that I think that if I cut up little, kind of like little circular feet for the bottom of this, it will not slide around on the dash of my car. The one problem that I am trying to kind of figure out, because I haven't thought about it too much, is how to weigh it down in the proper way that will reduce the camera from toppling over. So obviously it's a bit more thick and wide than the camera itself, so no worries on that, but I do want it to be a little bit weighted down. I believe that what I'm going to do is take this wood, hollow some channels out, put some of these bolts, lay them sideways to give some weight to the board, and then cover it with this metal sheet that I found. I'm going to also have to cut that down because it's a bit overhanging. And then put a screw in the bottom and continue with it. But one thing that I have found that I've really needed is a chisel. The past couple wood projects that I've had, I've needed a chisel and just kind of found a way around it because the ones that are available to me are not really meant for wood, and they're more dull than I need. So I will be using this Dremel tool with kind of a routing bit on it. The project has progressed quite a bit since I last recorded. I have channeled out a little bit of a hollow point right here so that the bolts will fit nicely. I need to go down a little bit. I have been using some, let's say, less than perfect chisels to do this because the bit that I was using for the Dremel tool was not exactly helpful or great. In that process though, since they are not exactly sharp, I kind of chiseled out some parts that needed to actually remain. So I've glued the sides to give it more stability and glued this chunk of wood that kind of came undone from that. So I'll have to flatten this out again to give it a nice stability. But this is only going to be the underside, so I don't really care about it as much, and most of it will be covered with that metal plate that I found. So going to continue chiseling out more of this underside so that the bolts can fit flat underneath. I was able to fully channel out this block in the middle, so I will be re-gluing this because it's delaminated a little bit, and putting bolts and some metal pieces on the inside just to be able to weigh it down. To do that, I'll be using a rotary wheel to cut those bolts down to size and fill this in epoxy over it. So I found exactly where I want the screw to be, which will be right on that X, by measuring out where the camera would sit on this. I don't really want it to sit right in the middle of the board. I want it to sit a little bit farther back, that way it doesn't rock forward, and the weight is going to be right there. So hopefully that will work. I really want to clear out as much of the glue as I can that's on the outside because I'd like to stain this to make it look somewhat nice. Now my plan is to take this drill bit and drill into this piece of wood right here on the X. Then I'm going to put this underneath it and epoxy over it. Then I'll be able to saw the bolt off exactly where I need it to be to fit the camera, because it is obviously a bit longer. I think that the battery on this drill is going out. Oh my word. The drill literally had enough to get right through that, and that's it. Got a new battery for the drill. Good to go. So what I have realized is that I need this camera to sit well on top of this screw, but the screw is way too large for what I need it to be. Welcome to the below shot. This is the camera, this is the board. That fits way too far into the camera to actually be useful because the screw mount only goes up a super tiny bit. So I'm going to be cutting this, then situating the camera on top so it actually faces out the way that I want it to, because otherwise it will screw on sideways and then I will be gluing it and epoxying it in place, along with all of the bolts to weigh it down. And there we are. Perfectly mounted. I actually had to take the screw, chop it down quite a bit to get it to work, but in the end, it did work. Had to go and readjust about 4 or 5 times, maybe even 6 or 7. This screw is mounted here. What I'm going to do is screw it into that camera, figure out exactly where it needs to be positioned and finely tuned to, mark that, and then glue it firmly into the base here. Well, epoxy it with this JB Weld clear weld. Then I will be doing the same with the weights on top of that to create a weighted base. And once both of those things are done, I will then be taking the little silicone feet and applying those to the bottom as well. So I just screwed this into the base right here, marked exactly where I need to epoxy the screw into by following the line through the screw mount. Now to epoxy it. Got it on my fingers. Okay, while this is curing, I filled it back up with some wood chips. Kind of fill it out more and not take as much JB Weld to set as it's curing and setting. This has become a very weighty object, but I still need to add that metal plate onto the bottom of it. So I'm going to go over, cut it to size, and hopefully do it all without tipping this over and forgetting that this is drying inside. So I finally got this all cut up, and the plate fits the bottom. Only a little bit of overhang, but not too bad. I also took a piece of the sandpaper and made sure that there were no cutting points on this. I will now also JB Weld over this and move on to create the little knob feet that go onto it. I really don't like these holes right here along the sides of the plate and seeing the wood chips that are down there. I don't really mind the metal, but I don't like the wood chips. So I'm going to use this wood filler. It's very firm, so I hope that it actually fills, works, and dries so that I can stain this whole piece. I couldn't get this to actually squeeze out of the tip like it's supposed to, so I cracked open the top of this, and it is very thick. But I'll put it in and see if it dries somewhat solid. It isn't even like a putty, it's just kind of like sand. But it is still moldable. That looks great. Now hopefully it just dries. It's been a few days since I last worked on this mounting plate. The glue has dried on the inside and all of the weight is well balanced. I actually found some little sticky pads at work that used to be on a server rack that will prevent it from slipping around inside the car, so I stuck those onto the bottom. And now I need to sand the top so that the glue will accept the stain that I'm about to put on it right here. A few things that I've learned from the process of doing this is do not use dry wood filler because it will then just flake on you. I've gotten it down to the part where the wood filler and the glue epoxy thing kind of just melded together, and that is solid, but everything that was on top just kind of became sand and flaked off. Remember that for my next project. But on a second note, I think that everything is done sanding wise, and I will now be getting on to the staining portion of this project. After that, I'll be attaching the rubber feet onto the bottom of the stand, and then my car mount will be fully completed. I also took the liberty of cutting these little rubber discs out of rubber and attaching them to this That way, if a different camera has a different screw depth, as this one does, it's very recessed, then it can just go straight onto the camera tripod mount. If it is the camera that is on, yeah, I was looking for it. If it is the camera that is on the tripod right now, it'll need one of these two because it is very close to the bottom of the camera itself. So I can just kind of screw that on, tighten it down, and the rubber will help to lock it in place. And that is pretty much it. Now this is still drying. I didn't use gloves or anything, so my fingers are pretty stained as it is, but that is the build itself. Now, these are the 2 feet that were kind of crudely placed on the bottom just to make sure that they actually fit. I will be sticking those on now. One right there. And 2 for a good bit of added stability. And there we have it, the perfect weighted camera rig for the car. Now, this camera, probably won't be filming as much with this camera inside the car, but look at that. Fits right on, nice and snug, and perfect. Let me take you over to the car, that way you can see exactly how it fits onto the hood. Dashboard, it's not really the hood of the car, it's more the dashboard. And then it doesn't slip around. There we have it. This only shifts around slightly. If I am pushing on it, it really does not move at all when driving. I have tested it. If I need to film myself, then I can turn it right around and film myself. And there we go, I got it to move. Also, there's probably sawdust on the bottom of this. So, this is the perfect camera rig for filming inside the car. An absolutely successful project with very little problems. Thank you all for joining me on this week's first vlog. Hope that you all have a wonderful week. See you in the next one. Whoosh.